jungler who's very confident in the early game, who can really play aggressive. Otherwise, she falls off completely.
Quick update, we should be getting back into the Champions League, as you can see on your screen right now. So the first two bans are going to still be Elise and Karma, and then from here on out it is free games. So the players now have the opportunity to ban anything they want. But
we don't tell them?
No, actually
okay.
I'm just feeding the info. Actually, we're very close to the players here
this.
in the studio, so I could probably just like fold it up in like a paper aeroplane and shoot it over. But we have the next ban coming out. It will be Trundle from Fnatic, and Azir coming in from Schalke against Febvin.
So Fnatic would have an option here to not ban Vladimir or Ryze and get one of them. Obviously that means Fnatic just also could leave both of them open and you end up trading. So like you get one as a first pick, we get one then in our first rotation, plus another strong pick. As we see a few different bans. I mean, Trundle, we see him banned quite a lot in Europe as well. Funny enough, I got a question about him, like why do people value Trundle so highly? Because he has a very low win rate as a top laner, but it's just because he wins almost every matchup against these tanks. And I kind of look at him a bit like an Italy in the jungle. He has the potential to just take over a game completely. If he gets a good lane matchup, you get a few ganks for him early, he becomes impossible to stop. Even 1 versus 2, he can beat you after level 6. And you just don't want to risk, especially not if you're a Fnatic and you play so many tanks top. You don't want to risk that Trundle pick coming in against them and then Gamsa gets shot down in lane and the game is just over.
I mean, it kind of goes both ways, right? With both these top laners being big tank players. But we did see Ryze is open because the last ban was Vladimir. I also saw Olaf up against Steve. So Steve hasn't even played Olaf yet, but he has been playing more and more carry top laners. So
yeah, and Olaf is also a pick which we saw in the NA LCS. We've seen it a bit around the world as well.
And EU as well.
EU obviously played it top with the copper shot. It is a flex pick, you know, both jungle and top, so I think it is a much stronger pick now. I think it makes sense to ban it. Fnatic is banning a lot of the new stuff, if you can look at it that way.
Very true. Hey, there's the first pick Nidalee that you were talking about.
Yeah, first time he gets it.
Yeah. So we'll see what Spirit can do with that
Second
pick.
time he gets it, I'm lying.
Yeah, but no, he's had some pretty good performances so far. He's often defaulted to that Kha'Zix, so maybe swapping a little bit up here.
I mean, maybe Schalke is doing Fnatic a favor, saying, guys, this Kha'Zix, it didn't really work. So we're going to give you Nidalee instead. It's normally banned against you guys, but here you go. This is your first pick. Don't pick the Kha'Zix. Well, and we get a game where Spirit can be a big carry.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got a 10 KDA, so it doesn't want to mess that up. But he hasn't died yet, so he can afford to die once.
I mean, that's the key thing, right?
Yeah, don't mess up the KDA. Schalke, first up, the first two picks will be Victor and Rek'Sai going into the jungle and mid lane for Fox.
Yeah, so interesting enough, Schalke banned away 3 mid lane picks, potential flex obviously with the Karma, and then take the best of the remaining ones. The thing about Victor as well is he's a much safer blind pick than a lot of mid laners, because nothing destroys him in lane anymore. He actually can lane fairly well against everything. Like if you pick a Vladimir, someone could potentially go Swain against you, and it's a tough matchup. Sure. We've seen the Nivea outside the laning phase being really good. Victor doesn't really have these counters. He doesn't need a specific comp around him either. He's just a very, very good pick on his own. Rek'Sai, obviously we see it so many times. She has become one of the absolute top picks. You can build multiple build paths. You can go a bit of damage with Titanic. You can go full tank. And of course you have the mobility to be everywhere on the map. Great early ganks, decent farm speed as well. Like, it's just a very solid pick.
Solid champion. I think that's the way to describe that pick. Next two come in from Fnatic will be Braum going into the bot lane for Yellow Star. Will be his 4th game on Braum now with the Caitlyn.
And it's interesting. Braum is actually the most banned support in Europe because he's just so good in team fights. And if you play him well in lane, you can also engage in these squishy range supports and actually win that 2v2, but you have to play aggressive, which is something we've seen Fnatic try to do in the bottom lane with Reckless and Yellow Star. It worked in 1 or 2 games, and then it didn't work in 1 or 2 games. So
I mean, it was on the Kalista games when he was just going ham, but yeah.
We've seen both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I think Schalke can be fine taking a range matchup into the Braum, and they're simply saying we're not afraid of Fnatic's bot lane, because I don't think you have to be afraid of them in the laning phase.
Yeah, that is for certain. We spoke about Ryze getting through the picks and bans, through the bans at least, but neither team has really opted to pick him up yet. We have the next two coming in from Schalke. Will be that Soraka going into the bot lane with Ashe, so another range support coming in there.
But that's the thing, right? In this pick and ban phase, Schalke has put a lot of value on Victor in the past, and they very specifically banned all these mid laners, so they early showed their mid lane pick, and Ryze is not being used that often in the top lane. So Fnatic didn't have to pick him. Like, they could just wait and say, we don't think you're going to play Ryze. Like, Steve is not really his kind of champion. So they're basically expecting Steve to play like a tank now. And then you have a very standard composition with like this control mage in mid, a lot of pick potential from your AD carry, and hard engage from your AD carry. And this Soraka pick as well. Interesting one from Sproutle. We see Mythi mainly play it. And it's fun when you talk to a lot of supports. It's either I love it or I hate it. There's no in between where Soraka is decent. Yeah, no, it's like it's really good, or no, I don't like it at all. I can't really use it. And there's the Rise.
Wow, last second pickup. Well, there's the Rise we were talking about, but also the Shen coming in. We've seen a little bit of Shen kind of creeping in, but not a whole lot. We've seen one Shen before, at least in the EU.
Well, Korea played it this week here in 6-11. Shen top lane. Same as before, you just go full tank. Laning phase is actually pretty solid. Mid game as well, because you're just building full tank. You're good into most matchups. Gnar can be tricky for you. Once he gets a few levels under his belt, his W starts getting a few ranks with percent damage. But the problem for Shen right now is just his team fighting presence is weak. Like if you don't land that taunt on 2 members, you don't really do anything. You just kind of run after people and you do very low amounts of damage, especially late game. So his team fighting presence is very weak. But this is a 1-3-1 composition from Fnatic with very, very good lanes and a lot of ways for this mid lane to play aggressive as well. Like Braum, extremely good in skirmish. Shen early game is good in skirmish as well. Rise, we know if he gets onto a target, can take you down. So a lot of pressure coming from Fnatic, and we're not looking at this kind of game where we wait 40 minutes and then one big team fight decides everything.
Yeah. It's actually interesting from Schalke. They just picked up their last pick. They were throwing the idea of Gnar into the top lane, into a tank, which would be fine, but actually swapped to Maokai at the last second. So just a tank versus tank matchup. But in this one, he's going to have to expend his teleport to match Shen's ultimate.
And like, if you're Schalke, you really want to get into team fights. You want to pull the Shen into a team fight with you, because then the Maokai is like twice as good.
Yeah.
So the problem becomes if Fnatic can play this global game, double TP, or even triple TP, technically with Shen having 2, then suddenly the Maokai can only join once, and it's not as effective. But it's something I've seen more and more for teams. If they're basically saying, oh, we can't match the side lane of the enemy mid laner, and they already have a split pusher or a tank like Shen, we don't want to pick something like a Trundle or a Gnar to try and destroy the lane, because we can just get ganked by double TP. No, we just pick a tank and we go team fight. And that's what Schalke decided to do.
I mean, this composition really has to just pull the trigger if they want to make that work, because if you mess up once, then the Shen will be able to go in once again and they will just lose to Fnatic. But you can see the full compositions on your screen, so use the hashtags, hashtag FNC win or hashtag S04 win for who you think will be taking this game. First game in this best of 2, and the very first game here in the studio in week 3. But we will be heading on. It is very, very hot. I can confirm that to Vicio, but we'll be getting the lights dimmed here very shortly as we head onto the Rift. And you can see all the players, hopefully not as hot as we are. But I'm sure those jerseys actually would be pretty good. Hey!
There we go.
It's happening.
Managed to sneak in as well on the camera shot. Not something you get to do very often as a caster.
That's true, yeah. Sometimes we have to turn around, but not here in the studio. I like that. But now Fnatic just launching off the starting pad and then heading into the mid lane. So got a small stack here. We're going to see anything in the early game.
Well, when you have a Braum in level 1, you actually want your mid laner to play aggressive and push the enemy mid laner back to his tower. So your Braum has the option to sneak around the corner in the mid lane and get into one of these side pushes, and then you can try and surprise them. However, it's actually a tactic Schalke also used. And that's why we saw the ward being placed from Victor instantly in the mid lane, being like we know, I don't care. We know what you're going to do. And Yellowstar decided to abandon the level 1. It's something we see very often with Braum. One of the good things about Braum as well is he's like the best level 1 support. So if you want to get a lane swap, you can always invade with Braum. Like every single time. You can always guarantee getting deep vision. This game here, Fnatic didn't necessarily go too aggressive in the early game. But if you do look at the lanes, like an Ashe Soraka lane can be difficult to play against with their melee support. So I think Fnatic is okay with having a lane swap in this game.
So you can see the starting item build. Fevin on the rise, of course. We were speaking about that in Champion Select. Has opted towards the Mana Crystal first with refillable potion. So it's actually a really nice build for Rise, because he only needs to back with around 700 gold. And if he wants to go Corrupting Potion, he can pick that up. If he wants to go Tier, he can pick that up. So he has a really nice timing on that first back compared to other mid laners on their first items. And we're going to see double jungle to start off.
And such an interesting pick and ban phase we got here, Pulse, with like the Rise being left open, the Nidalee being left open by Schalke, putting so much priority on getting that first pick Victor for the mid lane matchup, and okay, taking it into the Rise. Like, Rise in lane as long as he can play aggressive and actually threaten all-ins, he can go at least even with everything. He will get pushed down from time to time, but it's all about having lane control for him and have like kill pressure, all-in pressure for Ryze. If he doesn't have it, if he gets shot down early, he gets pushed to tower and can't do anything. But Fnatic does have a lot of early game pressure here with the Nidalee. And once you get level 6 on a Shen, you don't really want to gank the Ryze anymore because Shen ulti will join. Or Shen will join with the ulti.
Yeah, it's actually very hard to do anything in terms of like skirmishes unless you know Maokai is going to be able to get in there. But still, they use pressure in the top lane because Shen. So yeah, it's all about getting those bigger fights and forcing the issue with Schalke's composition here. You just saw the Keystones. Both mid lanes running Storm Raiders. We're seeing that more and more on a lot of mid laners now. Synergizes so with their kits.
Yeah, and if we look at Ashe as well as an AD carry, she's being played more and more. Obviously, one of the reasons is other AD carries have been nerfed around her. She actually got a lot of nerfs herself, like during the spring split. But now, Ashe just does extremely well against like these 1-3-1 comps because she can always threaten to engage with arrow. So like you're always afraid of like overextending in a lane because then suddenly an arrow in your face and the fight is on. And also her damage, especially once she gets to late game. If you can keep the Q stacks rolling in these fights here, she does a ton of damage. And laning phase is strong as well for her because you just trade with volley auto attacks every time. So she actually has a lot of strong things in the current meta.
Yep.
And also keep in mind Lucian on 6-11 was nerfed pretty heavily. And he's actually not being played that much anymore.
Yeah, we're seeing less and less of that pick and more ADCs on the rise. We're actually seeing a lot of Ashe into Caitlyn as well. Being able to kind of match her laning pattern. But there we can see the towers being traded off. And we will probably get to phase 2 of this lane swap. A lot of the time we just see both
we don't
teams,
care yet about that.
No, we see both teams just kind of not really do anything after that.
Very standard so far. First dragon coming up is going to be the Mountain Drake. So obviously will have some value, but not necessarily in the early game specifically. It's much better towards the mid game where you start really pushing in towers and threaten barons and everything. Right now, it's basically just like, hey, cool, you got a bit of extra damage on the tower here. Congratulations. Go eat a cookie or whatever it is you get as a reward.
I mean, you want to pick it up earlier as well, because then you start the cycle
Obviously,
off.
yes.
And yeah, of course you want to prioritize that.
Actually, one of the best things we have seen in the EU LCS is when we get multiple Mountain Drakes, and like one team is winning early game, get like 2 of them, and then go to like a 22-minute Baron, and that Baron just dies in like 2 seconds, basically.
Yeah. We've actually seen Fnatic do that a lot, go for a lot of those Barons. They have way more Barons than everyone else. I believe they have 11 Barons total in only 8 games. So yeah, pretty good over their opponents who Schalke not so much about their Baron priority.
And second best team when it comes to Barons is G2 with 9. And G2 has won every game but 1. And Fnatic actually lost like 0-2 last week to H2K as an example. Still being able to take 11 Barons. But that was the key thing about Yellow Star shot calling in the spring split. So not in the spring split, in the summer split last year. There's this whole rush Barons at the correct times, now to set up for Barons, and if you are sleeping for just a few seconds, suddenly you lose all vision around the Baron is gone. And Fnatic's been doing it this split. Something to look for, especially if they start getting these early Mountain Drakes, but that's for 15-20 minutes from now, not relevant at the moment. Steve and Gilius.
Yeah, it's not very interesting. It's
No.
Shen versus Maokai, so not a lot goes on there. Going back to that point, though, of Yellow Star, you were pointing at something. What do you want to talk about?
Basically just the fact that Fnatic in this lane swap he actually opted to return to the lane where they killed the tower to take the 2v2 lane, which does kind of sell Gamsu just a little bit because his lane is actually now pushing away from him in the bottom lane. That's why Gilius showed up, threatens a gank, because right now Gamsu can't really leave, and Gilius can actually just return. You see Spirit here to try and back up his jungler, but he's fairly low.
He's actually looking to back.
Yeah, he's looking to back. So right now Gamsu is being left alone in a lane pushing away from him. And sometimes people are surprised why Gamsu falls behind early. Well, Fnatic as a team doesn't do him any favors at all.
Left out in the open, just a lonely tank, behind in levels, behind in farm. But yeah, so it's not all on Gamsu. You have to look at the rest of the team and the rest of the map before looking at why someone has a big discrepancy in their farm. Like we were even saying it before Champion Select, like he has the worst CSD usually, but I mean, you can see why. We're literally seeing it right here.
Yeah, it's funny, we have the second worst top laner in terms of CSD at 10 and 20, and we have the third worst top laner in Steve playing against him. Down the bottom lane, but both of them are playing a lot of tanks.
Exactly.
When you are playing tanks against Aurelia, Trundle, these picks, you do fall behind. But then you normally are stronger in teamfights, unless you're Shen.
Yeah.
Stronger with the global pressure. He will get level 6 in a few minutes from now. Steve already hit it now. And then I want to see if Fnatic are looking to force anything with invades from the Nidalee and join up. Spirit was invading.
Yeah, and the Herald is getting involved as well. He's going to be resetting, but Spirit is keeping up the damage. The Pulse comes out. He's going to have to flash over the wall. Gideus burns the Summoner, and even Spraddle was coming down.
Yeah, Gideus just had a few more seconds on his tunnel, and it was blocked. He had to flash out. Spirit gets his first little invade.
Yep. Gets some vision down, can clear out the tunnels as well. Puts Gideus a little further behind. Spirit, we've been seeing, has been pretty solid when it's come to invading. Gideus last week, of course, did not have a stellar week compared to his first week, where we're going, wow, you know, Gideus is going ham every single game. Is pretty much just doing everything all over the map. And we saw the reverse when it came to last week.
It is the caster thing, right? We see someone do well in a few games,
Yeah.
and we go crazy. Yeah, it goes on Twitter, it goes on Reddit, in our show, we're like, this guy, man.
Yep.
He's legit. Watch list is the man to look at all the time. And then the second week, it's kind of like, oh, never mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we need the Deficio on the desk to knock him down a couple blocks.
We did knock him down a little bit. I actually talked to him just when we were getting makeup before the show. And I just asked, like, what happened? You know, week 2, what went wrong? And he actually said it was because he didn't get proper sleep and he really needs to focus. And
Get in the zone.
Yeah, he also woke up a little bit too late then because he fell asleep at the wrong time. And things were just off for him. But this week, he's ready.
Okay. So if he doesn't have a good game now, he has no excuse.
That's it. That's it.
That's either way. Just saw, again, a little bit of poking, bit of an invade, but nothing is going to really result from that. Meanwhile, mid lane, just trading blows, just trading off and doing a lot of farming more than anything else. We can see Febman has his core item build, something we always say about Ryze is the tier and the catalyst coming out, so he's pretty happy, just farming up until mid-game. And then on the opposite side, Fox just going for those Hex core upgrades. And they're still farming up his jungle, so...
Big fan of the play-by-playing items in here.
Yep.
Like this item's coming in, he's about to
It gives me time as well to also look for the other item builds and see if there's anything weird going on, but we don't see a lot of weird diversity in item builds anymore. It's very standard usually with each champion has a specific build they go for.
Well, we've seen some AD carry changes, at least if we look at Korea as well.
That's true.
Funny enough, been looking a lot of Korea because they've been playing on 6-11 this week, where like some new Jhin builds, Ghostblade, Duskblade coming in as like very, very exciting builds with a lot of armor penetration. I'm really hoping we get to see that later. These two AD carries, however, will not build anything exciting.
It's Caitlyn and Ashe, so...
Yeah, Ashe will go Essence Reaver first, and Caitlyn will obviously just go straight for her 80 items into the Hurricane and then complete the Infinity Edge. There's really nothing to write home about, sadly. And yet we feel like we are entertaining people by talking about it. Yeah. Not really. Let's find something else. Let's talk about Soraka throwing space bananas.
Space bananas, yeah, that's pretty good. I actually really like that Soraka's game, but they're going to take up this next turret, and do we have a response in the bottom lane? I think it's only Gamsu lonely pushing in the bot lane, but he's going to take it at the same time.
Alone, man.
Yeah, lives on the island.
He actually wants this because he gets the full gold from tower. So
yeah.
Now the team is kind of patting him on the back being like, guys, Gamsu, we really love you, you know? Yeah, we might sacrifice you in the early game, but trust me.
Deficio's patting me on the back right now.
I don't know why, because you're also really like...
Well, now I get to understand how Gamsu feels.
Yes,
you know? So I liked it.
First, you shoot him down a little bit, you force him to fall behind, and then you give him the full gold.
Yeah.
That's it.
You allow him to come into the game. But, I mean, take a look at this farm right now. He's caught up to Steve. He's gotten that tower, so he's pretty good in terms of gold. And now he's level 7, so he's got the ultimate. He's able to get involved in those skirmishes if they open up. And Fnatic, of course, take the first Mountain Dragon because they have the strong side down there.
Basically, once Fnatic have like level 11 on Feb event, he gets some boots as well. You can start moving him to the side lane. You play the 1-3-1 game. That's the key thing about Caitlyn. She really wants to sit in the mid lane. She does nothing in the side lane once we pass the laning phase. Very easy to then just kill her with all these different mid lane picks. Even junglers can basically take her down if they get just a little bit of help. So you really want to move Caitlyn to the mid lane once your Ryze is ready. Once he's fully grown up, you move him to that side lane. And then Fnatic can play the pressure game where basically they're winning the Ryze lane. The Shen lane will always just go even. No one is going to die. But he can then obviously, as we talked about, join in with the double global. Even getting a Rift Tower actually will have a lot of value for Fnatic because they are playing the split push game. It is Schalke who's playing the team fight game. The 5-on-5 that we will hard engage with the Ashe into a TP. No, there's a Rift Herald. It's not Steve.
No, that's not Steve. The Herald, we don't really have a name for. Gideus comes in there, does not get the smite down. Spraddle's going to also rhyme, a lot of poking going on. But Steve, meanwhile, by himself, just going 1-on-2. And that's not going to result well for him. First blood out for Reckless.
I think he got confused because people were yelling his name.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh yeah, this trade's going well.
In, man. Oh, I'm alone. Rest of Schalke joined in too late as well, and this is great for Fnatic. First blood get the Rift Herald for Gamsu, so he has more pressure in his side lane. When pushing, actually can apply more damage to towers as well with the proc. And the only thing Schalke gets is a few hits on his mid tower. Sad price for them. And 1K go behind Pulse.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in a situation like that where you have a group of Schalke members versus a group of Fnatic members and you have the Maokai there, then usually it should go better because Shen versus the Maokai, right? But we're going to see Yellowstar actually getting caught out in his own jungle, 4 members dogpiling on top of him, and all of the ultimates coming in. Spend everything on the kitchen sink and they get the kill in return.
NA sends their regards, man. Yellowstar goes down instantly for him. Schalke just rotating from that mid straight down towards the bottom side, and Yellowstar not respecting. They could be hiding in that jungle. Put more damage on mid tower. Again, it's small things for Schalke at this point. There's not really anything else they can do on the map because there's no dragon, there's no Rift Herald.
Sure.
Just give it a few more hits, and then now you back away and you kind of reset the map one more time if you are Schalke.
So really there, I'm not sure exactly what happened to Steve other than him just like standing behind the Baron wall completely by himself and just try and go for that 1v2. But nice punish from Schalke, seeing Yellowstar looking for those wards and taking him out.
He was trying to move around to like flank from both angles because they already had the strong group coming from the mid lane, and if they could then stop Fnatic from running up towards the top side. But then he didn't expect Reckless and Yellowstar to sit there and just jump him instantly, and therefore he died. He didn't even get to use flash or anything. He actually just got killed very, very easily. So we had a point now where, despite Fnatic giving up 1 kill, can still be happy. We talked so much about the composition. Schalke leaving that Rise open, allowing Fnatic to get that strong mid lane pick. But I actually do think it makes sense. I don't think any pick right now is so strong it has to be permaban. I think you can play around everything.
Interesting. A lot of teams...
Not saying that stuff you should, not
we'll
ban
just leave the
at all,
Vladimir open and be
but
absolutely okay. But then we've seen teams like First Pick and just destroy the enemy. So, yeah, sometimes don't want to leave up some of the super strong picks right now. I think Vlad is maybe the exception to the rule there. And Gilius, he's going to be pushed out of his own jungle, not able to take his red buff there.
I think he just managed... No, actually, you're right. He had an old one.
That's Spirit, I believe, the red buff. Thank you, observers.
You can see it away.
Great invade. Spirit's been all over Gilius in this game, being taken away. Small things away from him. Gilius will try and take away
the revenge red buff. Problem for him now is the rest of Fnatic is already moving, and they're all pinging at the red buff. He has smite though. Might just be able to burst it down and take
wants it, but not there in time before it starts resetting, and he's over the wall.
Love the little detail here. Oh,
Spraddle. And by himself, Spirit is destroying that Soraka. Gonna follow after. Gravity Field really didn't do too much. And Featherfin's gonna chase after in the mid lane as well. Maybe an overextension from Spirit's gonna have to run out of the Chaos Storm, who is still chasing down Featherfin. So lots of damage coming in from Fox and no kill over to Fnatic.
I like how Fnatic, when they were invading in there, didn't even hit the red buff, knowing Gilius would have smite. They said, no, run right past it, force him out. Secure a second red buff for the team. And Fnatic playing this high pressure game. Always looking to fight, always looking for skirmish. Gamsu used TP in this one, doesn't matter, you have another one. And you could just go back to your lane, and Schalke wants just to really slow down the game. But Fnatic is obviously not agreeing on that one.
Yeah. Really just trying to get involved in these fights. So Reckless now has picked up the Runan's Hurricane, alongside, of course, the BF Sword. That is the build. You go BF Sword, then into the Hurricane, then into Infinity Edge. I actually saw him go for Berserker's Greaves before that, so yeah, just trying to get the extra bit of attack speed. Mr. Runner's actually gone for the Hurricane first as well, instead of going straight for that S04 verse, so he's going to be copying Reckless's build.
Yeah, build also we see more and more. Works really well with Ash's Q. Basically just like a quick rule when it comes to Hurricane. If your champion has like an attack speed steroid, Hurricane is actually a pretty decent item for you, especially when it comes to this applying damage to multiple members, which is the key thing. But if I'm really being like Captain Obvious here, if you want to deal damage to multiple members, you can buy a Hurricane.
And it hits multiple members.
It does. Like before, we had the Rage Blade in there sometimes. Not for Ashe, obviously, but like if you have
Ashe did go for a very short stint of building.
Tristana with the Rage Blade build, where like, I have an attack speed steroid, I'm going to pop it, instantly get it fully stacked, and just deal a ton of damage to multiple members. Now, though, we get to see Ocean Drake coming up. Fnatic, again, they have the early game pressure. They want to be able to take these early objectives, because then if they can't close out the game through the 1-3-1, once you get like an Elder Drake, stack multiple of the other dragons with it, you have a super strong push coming in, secure Baron with it, try and close out the game. So it's very important for Fnatic. They have control around these. dragons early on, and that's why both teams are fighting for it. It might not look very interesting. They're just killing wards. It's kind of like whatever. But the pre-setup for the dragon is important. The foreplay is important, Pulse.
But for you, Fisher, I'm sure you love this right now with all the pink wards going down and lots of vision being cleared out.
I cry every time they die.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I think someone could get called out though. Fnatic need to be careful in this situation because so often I see teams playing up against an Ashe and just like one person's just going to ward by themselves, Yellowstar jumping in there and just get hit by an arrow and instantly die.
And that's the key thing, right? That's why Ashe is such a good pick as well. If you're not 100% coordinated when you play against an Ashe, then one guy will get caught out. The problem in this case is Schalke is so far back on the map that even if they do shoot an arrow in the face on someone, the rest of the team probably won't be able to follow up in time and kill the guy.
Yeah.
So Ashe does extremely well when you have the control in river, because she can keep moving down into the river where you have a few pink wards. If you ever push up your lane, she just arrows you straight away. And like it just means you can never push far enough unless she's sitting this far back on the map, because Fnatic have the winning side lanes with this 1-3-1 double global, triple technically global comp.
Yep.
It's really difficult then for Rallis to do anything now. That's like a Schalke face saying, we want to farm. Like, guys, just farm up, get 2 items completed. Then we start looking for fights. Third dragon is probably going to be the one.
Okay, I will hold you to that, Officio. In the next 6 minutes, we'll see if they do go for that. Let me check what the next dragon is going to be. It's going to be another Ocean. So we'll see if there will be a fight over that from Schalke. Also great zoning control from Raku. Saw traps just covering all of the choke points before near the dragon. And I believe he's probably maxing as well. Yeah, level 5 already on that. Very few Caitlyn's max Piltover anymore. It's all about the traps, all about getting those down and zoning people.
Yeah, there's actually really no point in ever maxing Q on Caitlyn anymore. Like, the base damage of it is not that great. Good scaling, but you get the scaling already from rank 1.
Yeah, sure.
Gets a little bit better every time you do rank it up, though, but you just get a few levels in it in a lane swap. Or if you need it specifically for the laning phase, otherwise you just straight max your traps. It's all about zone control with Caitlyn. It's funny, we have 2 AD carries where it's all about actually being able to push up your mid lane and then just have this zone control, like one through having an engage tool where you have to always respect that and stay really far away. And the other one is by having these traps being set up in every single choke point. And you never really have a proper way of engaging onto her without taking a ton of damage beforehand.
Yep. I want to see Gamsu get involved in these skirmishes as well, because it's been a while since we've seen Shen. I've missed the old flash and dash maneuver where you
Still works.
You can flash after the E, of course. Still works, looks great.
Yep.
Featherman, what is going on right now?
He's standing something in the wall.
Yeah. Oh, and immediately gets arrowed out from Valaz, and wrong place, wrong time. Gillius is going to find him. Barrel coming in, Witch comes up. Gamsu comes in to try and defend it. Stand United, not going to be enough. That one kill goes over. T-Tors, there's Spirit. And now Rallis is trying to get on top of him. Last Prey Seeker will see where he's retreating to.
I feel like we just talked about like this zone control almost the Ashe will offer, because if you ever move too close to her, like it's an easy arrow in your face and then you're out of position. Fnatic thought, okay, we got Shen coming in, we have Nidalee moving, we can take this fight. Problem is the rest of Schalke were already there. It did leave the mid lane open, so technically despite Fnatic losing a kill, they win out on this trade because Fnatic gets the mid lane tower. And don't think they expected almost all of Schalke to be on top side before they took that little engage. Yep. Or they're basically saying, you know what, we're happy forcing a fight against all of your members because mid tower is then open.
See how frustrating it is to play against this Fnatic comp. There's just like spears and Piltover Peacemakers coming out of nowhere, chunking you down.
Kate is so annoying when she gets to sit in mid lane. Like when you have good side lanes, Kate is just such a perfect AD carry. Because again, I want to catch her. No, trap.
Yep.
Net.
Really annoying. I mean, Net is not the best ADC escape, but when combined with everything else she has in her kit, it's just amazing. It's not like a Tristana where it's just like you think you have Tristana and then she just jumps away anyway.
You can still interrupt the Tristana though.
You can, but there's like a couple frames where she just she just pieces out regardless.
I feel like Net is like a discount Arcane Shift.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Same
purpose,
amazing.
But you can stop it a little bit so. And now arrow.
There's the engage. Rallis is coming in. Good knock-up and the follow-up from Steve as well, keeping them in place. Yellowstar and Featherman are still alive. Finally, the Rise will drop. Fox coming in here, and the Chaos Storm will not tag anyone just yet, but the overtime damage is going to maybe pick up the kill onto Spirit, but that's the kill on to Yellowstar instead before Spirit gets away. Cougar form has been activated, and Fox is still on the chase, but now he's out of mana. 2-0 to Schalke.
Meanwhile, in the top lane right now, we have a tank battle between a tank Rek'Sai and a Shen. So funny enough.
Good play-by-play.
It's what I do.
Auto attack.
Spin around with this weird Rek'Sai thingy that does no damage to a tank. Everyone backs away though, but there's no ulti from Gamsu. He had TP, but because they're pushed all the way to tower, Schalke got another engage, and every single time it's Mr. Rales landing the arrow, starting the fight. It's exactly why they drafted this Ashe here, and they were fine taking the team fight and comp versus the split push. Like, we can always engage.
Yep. This is exactly what we were talking about in Champions. I just need to pull the trigger, and you can see
yes,
it right
you
here.
Have to.
Immediately, arrow comes in, and Gideus follows up instantly.
Only annoying thing with Schalke is how everyone has to move first, so they have to give away some damage on the tower, but then straight engage. Nothing Fnatic can do at this point. You see top lane Gamsu saying, guys, I'm not going to join. I'm just going to push this tower. Schalke gets a few more kills, still behind in goal, because they've been losing these towers behind in Dragons as well. Double Ocean Drake does have quite a lot of value in the mid game with the region it does offer you, especially when you play these split pushing setups where like you take a bit of damage and then you back away and you kind of reset and you keep pressure in lanes. You never really have to go back to base, or at least not as often when you get these double oceans. So it's very good when you have these small trades and then a pause where you just want to push minions, which is what a 1-3-1 comp wants to do.
Fnatic will be very happy with a second ocean, but Schalke, they have the ability to take it away. We've seen that they can really make these trades work for them, so we might see more aggression. Third Drake coming in.
And fight is going to happen.
Will we see the fight? Well, this time, Schalke actually has the control over the area. 2 pings have gone down. They have the crab as well. Steve, however, does not have TP, but he is in the bottom lane, so he's going to join the team first, while Gamsu gets all the time in the world for the next 5 seconds to push the top tower by himself. So Schalke need to make a decision. Yeah,
welcome to playing against multiple globals when you only have one teleport and then a Rek'Sai ulti. Gideus could have been on top side now and just ulti down to stop this push. I actually think that would have been the correct play. But Schalke is so focused on hard engaging, and then it was a little bit too optimistic.
Yeah, arrow did not land, and therefore Gamsu will just take the top turret very easy.
And Fnatic can just give over this dragon. They got 2 already, it's fine. They have enough in the bank. Get a free tower instead.
He's still pushing.
Yeah, he's still going. He's not going to get more, though.
No. But,
instead, we got the double trap set up one more time. Keep that Caitlyn in mid. Keep blocking every single entrance when you are moving around. And people will hate you.
Really nice, though. Fnatic just stopping the rotation, make it very difficult for Schalke to come into mid lane with the traps, get a bit of damage onto the mid tower, come back for that one later. Remember, they did the same thing bot lane, so they haven't picked up the towers, but in the future, they'll be able to knock them down like dominoes. Meanwhile, Fnatic are invading into the jungle here. Did manage to get away with the red buff, so they are happy for now. Good setup by Yellowstar. Not sure if he wanted that, probably not.
He's a support, he doesn't get any jungle camps.
Yeah, he's just like...
that's how it works.
Yeah.
Spirit, making sure Yellowstar knows his place.
So nonchalant as well, just tossed out the spear as he was leaving.
New times in Fnatic, new times.
Yeah.
Reyna would have easily have gifted that one over to Yellowstar.
Look at me, I'm the captain now.
Spirit has been one of the best players for Fnatic. We could criticize his pick, but his performance on the Kha'Zix last week was good.
Yeah, can't argue.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the compositions they built around it. I think that was a major reason why they actually lost some of their games. They also just didn't play well. But in this game here, Fnatic has been able to keep pressure going all the time. Reckless has been playing a great AD carry game where all you have to do is hit minions, then hit the tower, and then place these traps. Like, you're never really getting challenged at all. But again, it's why Caitlyn is such a good AD carry, sitting in this mid lane. Because every time you do move forward, you just move the traps with you.
Yeah. It's like the Azir of ADC, where you just shove the mid lane and have them clear, and then put people in the side lanes. Yeah. It's really frustrating, and you can see that resulting in gold totals, almost 4,000 gold ahead now over Schalke.
Why not the Teemo of mid lane?
The Teemo?
Because you just put the mushrooms instead.
I think that's a little bit different. I think the poke potential of Teemo is lacking compared to Azir and Caitlyn. Maybe just a little.
No, AP Teemo does
do
pretty serious damage.
Sometimes we look at picks that have been buffed over and over again to see if they come back into the meta. Teemo has been buffed a couple times. Not in recent patches.
Weird buffs though. It's
like, hey, like, now you can bounce mushrooms.
Yeah, it bounce them, and now you can like run around in a bush without losing your stealth. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you don't think anything of a change, and then someone finds a really creative way to use it. Gamsu. I mean, they're trading in the bot lane. Gamsu executed his combo perfectly. Shadow Dash, usual Q, get the extra attack speed on your opponent, and over time he will grind down Maokai. It will just take like half a century to do so, but it does do max health damage, so he'll get there in the end.
And we talked about Fnatic Barons earlier. Obviously, when you play these 1-3-1 comps and you start pushing your lanes, you get a free river. It's just yours because you constantly push past the river anyway, and you can just move in, put up your pink wards, and get Baron control. That's also why we see double blue trinket from Schalke to make sure, okay, try and spot the Baron every single time.
Yeah.
And for Schalke, again, it's about engaging with this Ashe. Before Fnatic gets to set up the full split push and push all the way down to your tier 2 towers, you have to be able to engage first. I want to see if we get like a Mikhail's coming in, because we actually got double QSS from Fnatic. I really like that. Because they know, okay, the main engage, it's going to be Rallis. Second engage is going to be like the flash engage from a Maokai, the flash knock-up from a Rek'Sai. That's going to be the ways for Schalke then. Make sure Fnatic don't win the game just by playing side lanes.
The game got a lot harder, as you mentioned, now that they picked up those Quicksilver Slashes. Gamsu still pushing in the bot lane, but it's harder for him really to make much headway against Steve, especially with Steve just being there. He just needs to be a body in the bot lane, because as soon as Gamsu steps up to hit the tower, then he's got Sunfire Cape, so then the tower hits him.
And we said earlier, Pulse, I believe we said it together, so we both now go down with this one.
Go down? Yeah. I thought we were getting credit for this one.
This is a bad one, right?
All right, okay.
We said we didn't expect anything fancy from the AD carries. There's a little bit of change, obviously, from Rallis in this one. With the Hurricane into Infinity Edge build, going for more raw damage output. I personally think in a game where you are the main engage, even if there's double QSS, I like their CDR build quite a lot. Just again, less cooldown on your arrow. It is so important for you to stop them. Because yeah, you might have more damage now, but if you never get a proper team fight with it, then who cares?
Sure.
So I feel like here you can go for the arrow and kind of shoot them on cooldown, almost. Just constantly see if you can create a pick here, force maybe a TP from Gamsu. Because right now, Schalke is just losing across the map. They have nowhere they're winning, because it's a Rift-held Shen who's winning the 1v1 against Maokai.
Well, Schalke really want to pull the trigger here in the mid lane, knowing that there was 2 people in the bottom lane taking that tower, but Gilius was by himself. Rallis really didn't want to initiate in that scenario, and Yellowstar just kind of stepped up, put the shield down, gave enough time for Ryze to rejoin them. They'll walk all the way around back into this mid lane, and I'm not really sure that Schalke can take this tower.
So basically what's happening right now is a fight.
Yeah, Gilius is going to step up to the tower, and the rest of the team just abandon him. They don't want any of this. Flash forward by Featherfin, going to lock him down in the Rune Prison. Great ultimate out from Fox. Will put a lot of damage onto the aggressing Fnatic. Gamsu's going to come in from the side, look for the tall flash. Lots of flashes all over the place, and Rallis are going to follow out onto Gamsu. Cuts the vision, he'll back away.
That was a weird fight, Pulse. It was like Gilius is like, I'm going to kill this tower, and his team is out running away, and he just dies.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Really strange. I'm not going to call that a fight. I would say that was a miscommunication there, but Fnatic immediately go onto the Baron and should take this down without any real contest. I mean, Rallis going to step up here, try and steal with a volley. I mean, why not just try at least, I guess, but not going to find it. And Fnatic get the kill and the Baron at 30 minutes.
Schalke did realize, okay, how do you stop split pushing? You do it by getting mid lane control. If you can't start doing in the side lanes, you just get mid lane control, you just 5-man or 4-man rush down the mid, because then suddenly the side lanes don't want to keep pushing because there's a chance you collapse on them on the side or they lose a mid tower, you know, as examples. Problem is, they obviously rushed in and then just Gilius just died. Like, then he also flashed ready, like he just got caught, CC'd, dead on the tower. It is one of the annoying things when you are a melee champion and the enemy team is defending, you're not supposed to hit the tower.
Yeah.
Like, let the range guys do it. You even got the space bananas.
It's just like, well, he was just went in there, he was like committing, and he was just like, okay guys, tower, everyone hit the tower. And they were like, and they're like saying, yeah, go for that, while they're standing in like the inner towers, like, keep going, Gilius, you got this. But
well, he didn't get it.
No, he did not. And now this game is going rather badly for Schalke. It's been going worse and worse over the last kind of 10 minutes. Gradual advantages from Fnatic, and now it's just kind of all escalated out of control now that they have the Baron. And now this 1-3-1 composition has just gotten a whole lot worse.
And you can see Fnatic actually is not even fully committing to playing every single lane. They keep fibbing with the rest of the team because the 4-man group are respecting the amount of engage from Schalke. And it's just much easier for them to take the fight 4v4 than having Fabian TPing in a few seconds later once the fight potentially could already be over. So just keeping everyone together because they're winning that side lane battle anyway, and they have the Baron at this point, trying to siege up with Nidalee, with the Caitlyn. Does make it easier for Schalke to defend though. And we're gonna get one of these games where we'll get some of these late game team fights. And then suddenly Rallis' build could pay off. But for now Schalke is behind, this tower is taking a ton of damage.
He just had that front line, but the front line is very dubious to step up right now after what just happened to Gilius. Steve saw that and was like, I guess I'll just sit at my inhibitor tower for now, but middle inner goes down over to Fnatic. They will continue to push in. All of the inners, all of the outers are currently dead for Schalke, so they're going to have to try and hold the line here at their inhibitors. And pushing the top lane from Fevin, pushing the bot lane now from Gamsu. Will be the rotation from Fnatic into the top lane as well, and they'll just try and break that shell.
And let's remember, it's not the end of the world for Fnatic if they don't manage to win the game with the Baron buff here. They got the Dragons anyway, they have a big gold lead, full map control. They can wait for an Elder Drake potentially. Use that one as your way to win the game. It does give Schalke a few more options, but Fnatic doesn't really have a composition that straight up dives through a tower. It is taking a lot of damage with the Baron buff here. Double cannon shooting.
Yeah, Baron buff plus Caitlyn equals tower dying very quickly. Double cannon means it says rain down hell. Instant cleanse out by Reckless. He's going to be knocked up by Gilius. Do they have enough damage? They'll take out his support first. Gilius is going to back away. Witch comes down. Crumb's Brattle will keep him alive. Spirit now backing away. And Schalke are keeping up the chase, but they're nowhere near in range. But they do stop the push.
Stop the push for now. 4 members from Fnatic still very healthy. Continue pushing in, a little bit greedy for the team. No engage from Rylus, but Steve is still here with flash and everything. Schalke might get another fight.
Gilius really wants to get in range of a Spirit, and he'll get the knockup, but there's no team behind him. He's too far ahead. Steve all the way in with the twisted advance. Good arcane smash. Gamsu, meanwhile, locked up right in the middle of Schalke. They'll pick up another easy kill onto him while the rest of the team run away. Tails between their legs, but they got what they came for. They took down the tower.
Yep. Didn't lose anything else. No other objectives on the map to take. Smart call by Fnatic. Under a lot of pressure. Only 4 members alive and still going and finishing off the tower. So good shot calling from the team, and something it's easy to not even realize could have happened. They could have taken that tower. If they just recall, we've been like, yeah, that's smart. You know, one guy died. Yep. Recall, go back, wait for Elder Drake. No problem. But in this case, they actually managed to get a tower where you normally wouldn't see a team get it. So very, very good shot calling from Fnatic. And finally this mid tower goes down. Schalke has been
They got it. We've got mid lane control. Not really, because Gilius was getting completely destroyed out there by Reckless, caught in that trap. But this is something that we praised Fnatic for coming into the split. You know, Yellowstar coming back, and we spoke even to Fnatic during spring, and that was something that they said they were lacking in terms of communication, in terms of shot calling. When I was speaking to actually Febvin last split, and he was saying it's a lot more difficult now without Yellowstar, and him coming back in. We can see these small movements that maybe Fnatic wouldn't have done in spring, and actually I can say that with confidence.
And also, we heard from the players this split. I'm a bit more up to date here, so I take this split.
Perfect.
Both Reckless and Febvin being able to play much better individually because they don't have to think about shot calling anymore. They just have to feed very standard information over to Yellowstar. Like, oh, this guy flashed, you know, this time. They put a ward here. Yep. Oh, this guy is now going to back. You know, these kind of things.
And Yellowstar computes the information.
And that's what you do. Like, you have 3 or 4 members who are just providing information. And then you have, typically 1 or 2 guys who will 100% decide on the play. For Schalke, it's like Sprattle and Gilius are feeding a lot of information over to Mr. Rylus, who's actually then the guy making the final call as an AD carry. But he's always been a very vocal member. But everyone is talking. It's not like when we say he's the shot caller, it means 4 of the members are saying nothing.
Yeah.
No. Everyone is talking. Everyone is feeding information and adding what they can. But there's often this one guy who says, everyone shut up. This is what we're going to do. Go here now. And then you suddenly get a tower. You get a Baron. And these kind of quick things.
I just imagine Yellowstar is like a robot computing information. It's like, okay, beep, boop, go Baron right now. And then Fnatic all follow the call. They're very fast as well, following those calls. They all instantly go towards a place. And before, when we saw that rotation in bot lane, one person goes down, take the tower, instantly go back up to mid lane.
Yeah, super good point, because that's another part about communication as a team. One of the most important things when you make calls is that everyone is on the same page when you make the call. And you don't have to explain exactly what it is. If Yellowstar says, let's go Dragon, well, then the rest of his team know, okay, we need to set up deep vision first. We need to push out our lanes. Or if I'm sitting on 2,000 gold, I probably need to recall now and come back then so I'm ready for the Dragon. All these things, each player needs to know on his own. So Yellowstar can just make that simple call saying, guys, we're going to go in Dragon in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Everyone then knows, okay, how do we set up for it? What do we need to do? That's another super important part when it comes to team communication. And that's where a lot of new teams, they don't have that. You have to micro call a lot of things, which then slows everything down. And if one guy's sitting on 2,000 gold when the fight is about to start, well, he's going to be useless because he's obviously much weaker than the enemy mid laner. And then you can blame him.
Exactly. You can put the blame train on someone else, but Elder Dragon has spawned, and Fnatic are taking it away very quickly. Here comes the TP out from Steve on the bottom side. Gilius comes over towards us, not manage to get the steal down, and Fnatic are closing in around him. Will be dropping him into the Guardian Angel. Meanwhile, Steve will get on top of Yellowstar and Fedvin, who will jump away. Gilius comes back up and goes back down, and Fox and Rallis chasing Reckless into the pit. He'll flash over the wall, abandoning Spirit for now, and Steve, in fact, will be the one to fall. 2-0 over to Fnatic so far. They'll lose one member, but get another on to Ralles. We've got Sparrow trying to put down some cover fires. Fox is looking to retreat. Good gravity field, but Schalke come up massively behind.
And the 2 Mountain Drakes here paying off for Fnatic. Even more damage on these objectives. Schalke came in pretty late, honestly. Elder Drake was almost dead, and then it became this little 50-50 smite between the junglers, but Spirit was there, able to deal a bit of damage, and then smite it after. And despite Schalke playing a nice team fight, against Elder Drake at this point, it's almost impossible to win these fights.
And look at what Elder Dragon plus having double Mountain does to a team like Fnatic. They can just destroy these inner base objectives. Inhibitor tower goes down, plus the inhibitor, plus the top inhibitor. Fox tries to put a little damage down himself, but Unbreakable will stop the laser coming out there. And Gilius, he's going in all the way from behind. He's a very sneaky Rek'Sai right now.
That's a pretty crazy flank.
Yeah.
Steve is not there. Mr. Riles is not there. Gilius, no. No, get out.
It was just a prank. All right, he's out. He's good. Yellowstar found him with the sweeper. He was just like, I wonder what that is in the bush.
It's a big ward moving around.
Yeah.
To be fair, when you look at the damage Fnatic have at this point, they probably would kill Gilius as fast as they would kill a pink ward right now with the Elder Drake. Reckless setting up for a Baron, because you still have Elder and Gilius is going in, but the team's on the other side.
He's completely separated. He's very tanky, but now the team will go in, immediately get hit by the traps. Gilius is just dead. Sprattle will back away. He also falls. Now Steve comes in with a flank with Fox, but it's already a 3 versus 5, and Fnatic are playing this team fight perfectly. Ralles goes down. He's got no peel from the rest of the team. Fox finds a kill on return. Make that 2. Steve will come in here, but he drops, and Gamsu is just blocking Fox if he even wants to try and get out of there. Gamsu still even had his ultimate. 3 members will survive from Fnatic, and they wipe out Schalke.
And pushing straight for the base here. They've been playing really well in this game, setting everything up from the start, getting the dragons, getting the lane control, and then you win some of the late game team fights when you have an Elder Drake as well.
And that's what's going to be it for this first game right here. The rest of Fnatic are very easily just going to walk and waltz into this mid lane and take down the Nexus. Very, very much a convincing win for Fnatic in this first game against Schalke. Did not go for the S04 in this game. He went for the more crit-based build, so you have even less arrows, less ways to get into those fights, less frequently. So once you pull the trigger, you have to make sure that that works out. And sometimes it did, but they didn't get enough. They were getting like a kill or like 2 kills. And they stopped the push, but the damage is already done to the tower. And
that's always the problem, right? If by the time you get the fight started, they're already at your tower hitting it. Even then, when you get the kill, you're never getting more from it. Because normally if you get a kill and everyone is in the middle of the map, you can then maybe take a tower, or you can get at least a buff or something. It's a few camps and some deep boards. When you push this far back on the map, getting a few kills just kind of delays the game. Nothing else. So I really felt like Fnatic were in control. I'm very happy to see a different kind of composition from them in here, like 1-3-1, something we know they like to play with Febiven in the side lanes. Yes, it's another tank from Gamsu, but it's a tank at least where you can have more pressure on the map, which was a nice change. I really think Schalke just, in the early game, gave away too many things, honestly, and couldn't really fight at the 20-minute mark because they were so far pushed back.
Sure.
Fnatic just kept getting more and more objectives and stayed in control.
I mean, that's what you were saying, right? It was just like, well, it's very clear right now, Schalke are looking to get those 2 item spikes, get to the mid-game, then force the fights. But because they were so far behind, it's just like, well, what can we do? And then they go for the fights and just kind of don't get enough from it, or just straight up lose as we got further on into the game. And we can actually see this replay right here. This is the fight where Fnatic just straight up beat out
with the Elder Drake at this
Schalke.
point, right? Like, this is where Fnatic is supposed to win 10 out of 10 times, almost. At this point here, Schalke came in from different angles. Another situation where I feel like the TP from Steve was extremely delayed. And if you want to keep playing tanks in this meta, you better be good at it. Like, I want to see a tank then who can always engage fights properly, who knows, exactly how much damage he can take. Otherwise, you are way better off just playing some of these carries who can have more impact. And that's where I felt like both top laners weren't like the centerpiece at all here. It was more about the group of 4. But then at least Gamsu with the Shen had way more pressure on the map.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Either way, we're going to send it over to Quickshot, who is standing by off to the side stage to take a look at the arena series between Origin and Roccat.
Start to the cast for the day. I am going to talk about the game that just took place over between Roccat and Origin on EU LCS 1. And straight out the gates, no real surprises. We're seeing the Ashe, we're seeing the Trundle in terms of the picks and bans. And truthfully, Origin looked very good in the early game. We're going to start a replay package shortly to highlight the early to mid stages of the game. And after the lane swap had been initiated, Origin were the ones that had a small tempo advantage. You can see on the minimap, they're pushing the towers down, as are Roccat, and Roccat are going to secure the first dragon of the game. Unfortunately, from here on out, it starts going downhill. Peke and Hybrid, they play very aggressive in Rockat's jungle. Betsy disrespects that fact, and he gets jumped on by Peke and Power People for first blood. The mid-game is a series of Ashe Arrow picks, one after the other, almost exclusively onto Betsy. He gets caught out in the mid lane. A few minutes later, there's a sneak from Baron after Origin are able to find another pick onto Betsy. Look at this, 23 minutes, they secure themselves control. 24.5, 25 minutes, they grab themselves Baron, and then they follow it up with yet another pick onto Betsy. Now, you'd think after seeing the 4,000 gold lead, the kill advantage, the pick power, that this game is over. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be the case because Peke actually got caught out multiple times. He was disrespecting the amount of engage potential that Gragas could put on the map, and this stalled the game by about 12 to 13 minutes. In the end, Origin closed it out, but it was way closer than it needed to be in the end, and I think Peke's positioning needs a little bit of work. One little aside that I did notice between both streams, Rift Herald was picked up between 11 and 11 minutes 30 on stream 1 and 2. 11 minutes 05 was secured by Origin. That's the quickest of the summer split. I want to see if that trend continues. Anyways, that game will be starting shortly. For now, we're going to head to an ad break, and when we come back, Fnatic versus Schalke.